Day 3, estimation and multiplication, division of whole numbers, and division of decimals. So what we're going to first start with is multiplication. With these multiplication problems, you have factors and you have products. Products are the answers when you do your multiplication product or multiplication problems, and then your factors are the two numbers or the numbers that you are multiplying together. So if we look at the first example, we have 236 times 62. So what we do is we take that 2, we multiply it by each number on the top number, so the 6, the 3, and the 2. From there, we move to the 6. Since we're moving to the tens place, we put a 0 down first to represent the ones place. So that way we are multiplying the 6 times 6, 3, and 2, starting in the tens place. Once we do that, we add up our numbers, and then we're done. So for number 2, same things. We have 272 times 125. So we're first going to take the 5, multiply it by the 2, the 7, and the 2. Then we move to the 2, we place a 0 down first. We multiply the 2 by the 2, 7, 2. Then we move to the 1, we add 2 zeros down first. And then multiply the 1 by the 7, the 2, 7, and 2. We add up our numbers, we get 34,000. To multiply a decimal by a whole number or another decimal, you want to count up those decimal places once you are finished and add on that many decimal places in your answer. So for like number 3 in the example, we have 1.73 times 29. We multiply the 9 by 3, 7, and 1. We move to the 2, we put a 0 down first underneath the 7. We multiply the 2 by the 3, the 7, and the 1. From there, we have 2 decimal places in total for both numbers that we're multiplying together. So our answer is going to also have 2 decimal places. If you see with number 4, with that example, you have 3 decimal places in your first number and 1 in your second number. So you have a total of 4 decimal places. Your answer will have a total of 4 decimal places as well. When we are multiplying by powers of 10, we are just moving the decimal point. The amount of times you see a 0 in that power of 10 tells you the amount of spaces that you are moving the decimal point to the right. So if we look at some short answer or short response questions, we're comparing the products place and we are replacing the set of parentheses with a less than, greater than, or equal sign. So for 11, we have 19 times 38 times 42 and 1265 times 23. So if we first set up this 19 times 38, the 8 and the 9 is 72. The 8 and the 1 is 8 plus 7 is 15. We add down the 0. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 times 1 plus 2 is 5. So we have a 2. The 5 and the 7 is 12. Carry the 1. 5 and 2 is 7. From there, we're going to multiply that by 42. So we have 2 times 2, which is 4. 2 times 2 again is 4. 2 times 7 is 14. Add your 0, move to the 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 7 is 28. Add these, we have a 4, a 12, a 13, a 10, and a 3. So this side is 30,324. On the right side, we have 1265. Let me do this up here. 1265 times 23. So 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 6 is 18 plus 1 is 19. 3 times 2 plus 1 is 7. 3 times 1 is 3. Moving to the 2, we put 0 down first. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 6 is 12. Plus 1 is 13. 2 times 2 plus 1 is 5. And 2 times 1 is 2. We add these, we have a 5, a 9, a 10, carry the 1, 8, 9, and then 2. So this is 29,095. So our bigger number is the 30,324. So this is greater than the 12th, 65 times 23. For 12, we have 116 times 37 times 55 and 3,204 times 78. So I'm going to start by multiplying the 16 times the 37. So I have 7 times 6, which is 42. 7 times 1 plus 4 is 7, plus 4 is 11. 7 times 1 plus 1 is 8. Add the 0, move to the 3. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. 3 times 1 is 3. Add these two. We get 2, 9, 12, carry the 1, 4,292. If we multiply this then by the 55, 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 1. 5 times 9 is 45, plus 1 is 46. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14. And 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21. Add the 0, multiply again. 5 times 2 is 10, 6, 4, 1, 2. We're adding these, so 0, 6, 10, carry the 1, 5, 6, 3, 2. So this is 236,060. For the 3204 times 78, 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 0 plus 3 is 3. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Add your 0. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 0 plus 2 is 2. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 1 is 22. So we add these, that's a 2. 8 plus 3 is 11. Carry the 1. 7 and 2 is 9. 5 and 4 is 9. 2 and 2 is 4. And then 2. So that's 249,912. 249,912. So if we compare these two numbers, the 249,912 is greater. For 13 through 16, we're placing the decimal point in the product. So for 13, we have 4.67 and 8.56. We have two decimal places in both of these, a total of 4. So we're moving our decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4 places. So this is 39.9752. For 14, we have 1, 2, 3 places that are decimal. So 1, 2, 3. This is going to be 81.528. For 5, we have 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. This is going to be 0.637. For 16, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decimal places. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 59.69514. For our next part, we are dividing. So when we are dividing with these numbers, we have to keep in mind our divisor, our dividend, and what our answer is our quotient. So you want to try to remember that the number that comes last, if it's something divided by something, is what goes in front. That's the number that's going to be on the outside of your little division house that you will have. So if you look at the first example here, we have 12,345 divided by 21. So what you would try to do is you would say to yourself, does 21 go into 1? No. Does 21 go into 12? No. So your number that you're going to start with is not going to go above the 1 or the 2. It's actually going to go above the 3 because 21 goes into 123. 21 goes into 123 5 times. So 5 times 21 is 105. We subtract those two numbers. We're left with 18. We bring down the next number, which is the 4, to give us 184. So then 21 goes into 184 8 times. So 8 times 21 is 168. So from there, we subtract the 2, we bring down the 5, we say to ourselves, 21 goes into 165 how many times? It's 7. 7 times 21 is 147, and we would have a remainder of 18. So we could either say that this is 587 with a remainder of 18, or 587 with 18 over 21. If you're going to put it in fraction form, the denominator of your fraction will always be the number that you're dividing by. So if we look at example 1, we have to divide 458 by 7. So we want to say to ourselves, this 7, or first off, the 7 goes on the outside of the division house. Does 7 go into 4? No. Let's try 45. Does 7 go into 45? Yes. Goes in 6 times with 42. So the 6 will go above the 5, and then you'll multiply 6 times 7, which is 42, and subtract the 45 and the 42. You have a remainder of 3 there. You have another number to the right of the 5. So you bring down that 8, and you have 38. 7 goes into 38 5 times with 35. So the 5 goes above the 8. 5 times 7 is 35. That goes underneath the 38, and then we subtract. When we subtract, we have a remainder of 3. So then from there, we have 65 remainder 3, or 65 and 3 over 7. Remember, you could always check your division by multiplying. When you do that, you're just multiplying your answer. So in this case, it would be the 65 times 7, and then you're going to add your remainder. For example 2, we have 7,751 divided by 37. So the 37 will go on the outside, the 7,751 will go on the inside, and then you would just start by saying to yourself, does 37 go into 7? No. Does 37 go into 77? Yes. Twice, and then keep going from there. I want to try to do some examples that are not done for us. You want to always remember that 0 divided by anything is 0. You cannot take a number and divide it by 0, though. So with that in mind, looking at example 11, we have 721 divided by 47. So that 47 would go on the outside. This 721 would go on the inside. So you want to ask yourself, does 47 go into 7? No. From there, we have to ask ourselves, does 47 go into 72? Yes. It goes in once with 47. So we subtract these. We're going to put the 2 as a 12, the 7 as a 6. So 12 minus 7 gives us 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5. And then 6 minus 4 is 2. We are bringing down that 1 for 251. From here, 47 goes into 251 how many times? What I like to do is I like to think to myself, my first number in the 47 is the 4. My first number in the 251 is 2. I know 4 doesn't go into 2, so I look at 25. How many times does 4 go into 25 evenly? Probably around 6, but that's 24, and that's going to be really close, so I'm going to try 5. So if I put my 5 over my 1 and I multiply, 5 times 7 is 35, carry the 3. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 3 is 23. That number is less than the number on top of it, so we can subtract these two. The 1's going to become an 11, making the 5 a 4. So 11 minus 5 is 6. 4 minus 3 is 1. So that's 16. With this, we are going to have an answer of 15 and 16 over 47. You could also give 15 remainder 16. For 12, we have 2,456 divided by 8. So the 8 is on the outside, the 2,456 is on the inside. So we ask ourselves, does 8 go into 2? No. Does 8 go into 24? Yes. It goes in 3 times with 24. So we're going to subtract these and we get 0. Bring down the next number. Does 8 go into 5? No. So 0 goes out of the 5. Bring down the 6. Does 8 go into 56? Yes. How many times? 7. And 7 times 8 is 56. So we do not have a remainder for this one. We just have 307 for our answer. For our next example, we have 5,022 divided by 33. So we're going to put the 33 on the outside, then the 5022 on the inside. So we're going to ask ourselves, does 33 go into 5? No. Does 33 go into 50? Yes. It goes in one time with 33. So we're going to do 50 divided by 33. Or sorry, 50 minus 33. And this 0 becomes a 10. The 5 becomes a 4. So this is going to be 17. We bring down that 2 for 172. 33 goes into 172 how many times? Well, I know 3 times 5 is 15, and that's close to 17. I'm going to try 5. Put the 5 over the first 2, multiply. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 3 plus 1 is 16. I'm going to subtract these two, which I can do. The 2 is going to become a 12, making this 7 a 6. So 12 minus 5 is 7, 6 minus 6 is 0, 1 minus 1 is 0. So I'm then going to bring down that 2 for 72. I then have 33 goes into 72 how many times? Well, 33, I can try 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 again is 6. I can subtract these. This is going to become a 12, making this a 6. So 12 minus 6 is 6. I'm all out of numbers, so my answer is 152, remainder 6, or 152 with 6 over 33, which simplifies to be 152 and 3 over 11. Oh, sorry, 2 over 11. For 14, we have 16,940 divided by 97. So we are going to put the 97 on the outside, the 16,940 on the inside. I ask myself, does 16 go into, or sorry, does 97 go into 1? No. Does 97 go into 16? No. Does 97 go into 169? Yes, one time. So 1 times 97 is 97. I put that under the 169 and I subtract. 9 minus 7 is 2. 6 minus 9 I cannot do, so this becomes a 16. The 1 becomes a 0. 16 minus 9 is 7. So 72. I am going to bring down that 4. And I'm going to ask myself, 97 goes into 724 how many times? Well, 9 times 7 is 63, and that's less than 72. If I did 9 times 8, that is 72. It's going to be too big because I have that 7 that I'm also multiplying by. So I am going to put a 7 up on top of the 4 and multiply it. 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times 9 is 63, plus 4 is 67. I'm going to subtract these two. This 4 becomes a 14, making the 2 a 1, which then becomes an 11, making the 7 a 6. So 14 minus 9 is 5. 11 minus 7 is 4. I bring that 0 down to give me 450. From here, I ask myself, 9 goes into 45 how many times? Well, evenly 5, but I still have that 7, and it's not 90 times 5, so I have to go below the 5, so we're going to try a 4. So 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 9 is 36, plus 2 is 38. I'm going to subtract these two. This 0 becomes a 10, the 5 becomes a 4, which then becomes a 14, making the 4 a 3. So 10 minus 8 is 2, 14 minus 8 is 6. So I have 97, remainder 62. I can also do, oh sorry, not 97, 174. Yeah, 174, remainder 62. And I can also say that's 174 with 62 over 97. For 15 through 18, we're simplifying the missing number. So for 15, we have 4 times what is 572? Well, if we divide the 572 by 4, it'll give us that number. So I'm just going to move up here. So I have my 4 on the outside, my 572 on the inside. So 572 divided by 4 is what we're doing. The 4 goes into 5 once with 1 left over. We bring down that 7. 4 goes into 17 4 times with 16, so that gives me 1 left over. I bring the 2 down. 3 goes into 12 4 times, so that's 143. For 16, we have 29 times what is 1363. So the 29 is going to go on the outside. The 1363 is going to go on the inside. So we're doing 1363 divided by 29. So I'm going to ask myself, does 29 go into 1? No. Does 21 go into 13? No. Does 21 go into 136? Yes. I'm going to try 4. 4 times 9 is 36. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 3 is 12. Sorry, no, it's 11. 11. So I am going to subtract these. The 6 minus 6 is 0. 3 minus 1 is 2. 1 minus 1 is 0. I bring down that 3. So I have 29 goes into 203 how many times? For this, I'm going to try 7. 7 times 9 is 63. You're good so far. 7 times 2 is 14 plus 6 is 20. So I subtract and I get 0. So 47 is our missing number. For 17, we have something times 53 is 15,749. So our 53 is going to go on the outside. Our 15,794 is going on the inside. So we're just doing 15,794 divided by 53. So for this one, the 53 does not go into 1, nor does it go into 15. But it goes into 157 twice, because 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 5 is 10. From here, we're going to subtract. So 7 minus 6 is 1, 5 minus 0 is 5, 1 minus 1 is 0. So then bring down that 9. So 53 goes into 519 how many times? I'm going to try 9. Then 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 5 is 45. Plus 2 is 47. So I'm subtracting these. The 9 minus 7 is 2. The 11, making the 5 a 4. 11 minus 7 is 4. From here, we bring the 4 down. So we have 424. This is a little bit less than the 477. So I'm going to try 8 when I do this. So 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 5 is 40 plus 2 is 42. That works and gives me a remainder of 0. So 298 is our missing number. For 18, we have 106 times something is 8,586. So I'm going to do 8586 divided by 106. 8586 divided by 106. And this was number 18. All right, so 8586 divided by 106. 106 doesn't go into 8, nor does it go into 85, but it goes into 858. I'm going to try 8 times since that first number there is a 1, and 8 times 1 is 8. So 8 times 6 is 48. 8 times 0 is 0 plus 4 is 4. 8 times 1 is 4. 8. So I subtract these, I get 10. Bring down the 6. Well, 106 goes into 106 one time, and that goes in evenly, so 81 is my missing number. With your decimals, you have to pay attention to these decimal places just like you did with multiplication. So with these decimals, you want to set up your division with your division house, and you will bring up that decimal point where it belongs between your numbers that you're working with. So with some of these examples, you may not be working with the first number, but you may be working with the second. And after that number, you may have a decimal point. So if we look at examples that are not done for us, for 11, we have 52.25 divided by 2.5. So I'm just going to move this down here and rewrite it. All right, so this is why I wanted to do these with you instead of the ones that are done for you already, because when you have a division problem with a decimal on the outside of the division house, you cannot have a decimal on the outside of the division house. You have to have a whole number out there. So when you do this, you have to move the decimal point. And when you move the decimal point on the number on the outside, you do the same to the number on the inside the same amount of times. So now this is 522.5 divided by 25. So now you can work with this and say to yourself, 25 goes into 5 no times, so 25 goes into 52 twice. 2 times 25 is 50, so we subtract these, we have 2. We bring down that 2 for 22. We still cannot work with that, so that gives us a 0. From there, we bring down the 5. 25 goes into 225 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 2 is 18 plus 4 is 22. So we subtract those, we get 0. So this is just 20.9. For 12, we have 243 divided by 0.75. So this 0.75 is going to go on the outside, and this 2.43 is going to go on the inside. So again, with this one, we're moving that decimal point to make a whole number on the outside. We'll do the same to the number on the inside, the same amount of places. So this is going to be 243 divided by 75. So 75 is on the outside. 243 is on the inside. So ask yourself, does 75 go into 2? No. Does 75 go into 24? No. So 75 goes into 243 how many times? Well, I know that 7 times what is close to 24. 7 times 3 is 21. So let's try 3. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 7 plus 1 is 22. That's a number less than the 243, so we can subtract these. The 3 becomes a 13, making the 4 a 3. So 13 minus 5 is 8, and 3 minus 2 is 1. So this is 3 with a remainder of 18, but we are going to keep going from here. Because we are going to keep going, we're going to add a 0, and we're going to add a decimal point as well, and then bring that 0 down to work with 180. So 75 goes into 180 twice. The 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 7 is 4, plus 1 is 15. So 180 minus 150 is 30. Again, we have a remainder, so we're going to bring down that next 0 that we place in there. And then we're going to say to ourselves, what times 7 is around 30? So that would be 4. So 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 7 is 28. Plus 2 is 30. So we have 3.24. For 13, we have 21 divided by 0.15. So we're going to put that 0.15 on the outside and the 21 on the inside. Because we have a decimal on the outside, we're going to move that decimal point and do the same thing on the one on the inside. The one on the inside is after the 1. So we're going to move it 2 places and then place in zeros for that. So we're going to have 2100 divided by 15. When we do this, we want to ask ourselves, 15 goes into 2 how many times? It doesn't. 15 goes into 21 once with 15. So we subtract those and we get 6. We bring down that 0. 15 goes into 60 how many times? 4. 4 times 15 is 60. Think about the clock. you have 0, and then you bring down the 0, so 15 goes into 0, 0 times. So 140 is our answer for that one. For 14, we have 275.88 divided by 38. Let me see, I don't have enough room there, so I'm going to write it down here. So 14, 38 is on the outside, 275.88 is on the inside. All right. So for this one, we're going to ask ourselves, does 38 go into 2? No. Does 38 go into 27? No. Does 38 go into 275? Yes. I'm going to, for this one, think to myself, 3 times what is a number close to 27? I know it's 3 times 9, but that is really close. It's too close. So then I think 8's lower. However, if I did 8 times 8, that's 6 in the tens place. If I multiply, or if I then add that 6 to the 24, when I multiply the 8 by 3, it's going to give me 28. That's too big. So let's try 7. 7 times 8 is 56. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 5 is 26. That works out a lot better. So the 5 becomes a 6. 5 becomes a 15. And then you subtract the 6 from it. That is 9. The 7 became a 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. And 2 minus 2 is 0. So we are going to drop down that 8. We're also going to move up that decimal point. So we have 38 goes into 98 how many times? Well, I'm going to try 2. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So if I subtract these, I get 22. That's still less than 28. 38. So I'm going to move down that 8. So 38 goes into 228 how many times? 6 times 3 is 18. So I'm going to use that and see what I get from that. So 6 times 8 is 48. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 4 is 22. So that gives me a remainder of 0. 38 goes into 275.88, 7.26 times. For our next set of questions, we are going to skip these because I do want to go over the practice that I gave you for this section. So for 1, we are finding the product of 507 and 86. We're just going to multiply these two. So we have 507 times 86. So 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 0 plus 4 is 4. 6 times 5 is 30. Add your 0 since you're moving to the 8. 8 times 7 is 56. Carry the 5. 8 times 0 plus 5 is 5. 8 times 5 is 40. So if we add these, 2 plus 0 is 2, 4 plus 6 is 10, 1 plus 5 is 6, 3 plus 0 is 3, and then that 4 gets dropped down. So we have 43,602. For number 2, it says a market ordered 150 cases of soda. If each case contains 24 cans, how many cans are there? So we're going to do 150 times 24. So 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 5 is 20. Carry the 2. 4 times 1 plus 2 is 6. You're moving to the 2, so put the 0 down. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 1 plus 1 is 3. So we add these, and we get 0,063. So 3,600. For 3, it says, which expression gives the best estimate for 47 times 92? Well, 47 could round to 50, and 92 would round to 90. So B would be your answer. For 4, it says the best estimate of 2.869 times 5,017 is less than 10,000, more than 10,000, more than 15,000, or more than 20,000. Well, the 2.869 could round to 3 times 5,000 would be 15,000. However, the 1507 is more than 5,000, and the 2.869 is less than 3. So I would think that this would be a little bit more than the 15,000. And since our H has that 15,000 in it, and that's what we got when we estimated this, we're going to go with H. For 5, we are multiplying 6.7 times 9.8. So 6.7 times 9.8. We're going to start with the 8. 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 6 is 48. 49, 50, 51, 52, 53. We add that 0 down. 9 times 7 is 63. 9 times 6 is 54. Plus 6 is 60. We add these. 6 plus 0 is 6. 3 plus 3 is 6. 5 plus 0 is 5. 6 and nothing is 6. We have one decimal place here, 1 here, so our answer should have a total of 2. So we're going to move that decimal 2 places over, and our answer is going to be 65.66. For 6, it says Nina is buying a barbecued chicken that weighs 2.65 pounds. If the price of the chicken is $2.89 per pound, what should Nina pay? So we are going to do 265 times 289. So 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 6 is 63, plus 4 is 67. 9 times 2 is 18, plus 6 is 18 and 6. Why can't I think of this? 18 plus 6 gives us 24. We move to the 8, so we put a 0 down. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 6 is 48. Plus the 4 is 52. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 5 is 21. You're moving to the 2, so put two zeros down. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13. And 2 times 2 plus 1 is 5. We add these. That's a 5, a 7, 6, another 6, and a 7. So 76, 675. You have 2 decimal places here, 2 here, so your answer should have a total of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You're rounding to the nearest hundredths here since you're dealing with money. So this is 7.67. So your answer that you're going to choose is that F. But like I said, if you would round to the nearest hundredths, since you're dealing with money, that 6 would turn into a 7. For 7, we have 0.13 times 1 million. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. So you're going to take this decimal point and move it to the right 6 times. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. This is giving you 130,000. 8 says find the product of 0.058 and 0.09. Product means multiplication. So I'm going to line these up. The 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 5 is 45. Plus 7 gives us 52. The 9 times 0 is 0. 9 times 0 again is 0. If we move to the next 0, everything's going to be 0. Same thing with the next one. So we have a total here of 5 decimal places. So in our answer, we're going to have our decimal place here. We're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Add in zeros. So 0.00522. Nine asks, what product is the greatest? So if we were to multiply all these out, I'm not going to make you multiply them all out. I'm going to actually give you the answers to these. The 63 times 58 gives us 3,654. The 39 times 97 gives us 3,783. So right now, that second one is greatest. The 76 times 44 It gives us 3344. So that one's not going to work. And then we have 82 times 29. So that one is 2378. That one does not work either. So B is our answer. For these, you could have gone ahead and estimated them as well. The 63 times 58, you can do 60 times 60, which gives us 3,600. The 39 times 97 could have been 40 times 100, which is 40,000. I'm sorry, 4,000, not 40,000. The 76 times 44 could have also been 80 times 40, which is 36. The 82 times 29 is this estimation of 80 times 30, which is 2,400. So with these, the greatest would have been the 4,000. For 10, it says Mr. Stone's car averages 22.3 miles per gallon. How many miles can he travel on 12.5 gallons of gasoline? So if we multiply these two, so 22.3 times 12.5, we can get our answer for that. So 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 2 plus 1 is 11. 5 times 2 plus 1 again is 11. We move to the 2, so we put a 0 down. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. We move to the 1, so we put 2 zeros down. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 and 1 times 2 are both 2. So we add these numbers up. 5 plus 0 is 5. 6 plus 1 is 7. The 1 plus 4 plus 3 gives us 8. 1 plus 2 plus 4 gives us 7. And then that 2 drops down. We have a total of 2 decimal places. So this is going to be 278.75. For 1 in our next section for practice, it says which expression gives the best estimate of 73,625 divided by 81. Well, the 73,625 can be 74,000, and the 81 could be 80, so that would be B. For 2, it says estimate 23,914 divided by 62. Well, I'm going to estimate this to be 24,000 divided by 60. Well, 24,000 divided by 60, this is the same thing as 2,400 divided by 6, which would give us 400. Now, am I going to be higher or lower than this? I would think I'm going to be lower, but I'm going to double check this with my calculator. So 23,914 divided by 62 is in fact lower. So this is going to be less than 400. For 3, it says which problem has a remainder of 3. For A, we have 184 divided by 7. 7 goes into 18 twice with 4 left over. So 7 goes into 44 6 times with 42. So that's 2 left over. So that's not 3. With C, 8 goes into 29 3 times with 28, so that's 11. 8 goes into 11 once with 3 left over. So C would be our answer. For 14, we have 19 on the outside and 4420 on the inside. So we are going to do 4,420 divided by 19. So 19 does not go into 4, but it goes into 44. The 19 times 2 is what we'll do. So 2 times 19, 2 times 9 is 18. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3, so that's 38. We subtract these two, and we get 6. Bring down the 2. 19 goes into 62 3 times. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 times 1 plus 2 is 5. We subtract. So this is going to give us 5. Carry the 1 down. So then we have The 19 goes into 50 2 times with 38, because we already did that. We subtract these, this becomes a 10, this becomes a 4, so that's 12. So this is 232 remainder 12. 5 says, which of the following could not be the quotient when a number is divided by 17? With all of these, most likely it's going to be B. I'm not worried about this one with you all. Which of the following could not be the quotient when a number is divided by 17? So, like I said, you can skip this one. I'm not worried about it. And I'm not gonna ask you a question like that either. For 6, it says, what is the quotient of 9,024 and 48? So we are going to have that 48 on the outside and 9024 on the inside. So 9,024 divided by 48. 48 does not go into 9, but it goes into 90 one time. So we would subtract these two. This would become a 10, this would become an 8, so that is 42. Bring down the 2. 48 goes into 422 8 times. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 6 is 38. So we subtract these. This becomes a 12, this becomes a 1, making it an 11, making the 4 a 3. So 12 minus 4 is 8. 11 minus 8 is 3. Bring down the 4. 384. Look at that. We know that's 8. So that's 188. 7 says a distributor needs to ship 620 books. Each carton holds at most 16 books. What is the least number of cartons that must be shipped? So we're going to divide these two. The 16 will go on the outside. The 620 would go on the inside. So 620 divided by 16 is what we're doing. We are going to do 16 goes into 6 no times. 16 goes into 62 3 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Carry the 1. 3 times 1 plus 1 gives us 4. So we can subtract these. That's going to become a 12. This becomes a 5. So that is 14. The 0 comes down. 16 goes into 148 times. So 8 goes times the 6 is 48. 8 times 1 plus 4 is 12. So we subtract these two, and this is going to be 12. From here, it tells us that what is the least number of cartons that must be shipped? Well, it's 38 with a remainder of 12, so that's 39. For 8, we have 9125 divided by 200. So we are going to have the 200 on the outside, then 9125 on the inside. So 9125 divided by 200. We're going to start by saying that 200 does not go into 9, nor does it go into 91, but it goes into 912 4 times, because 4 times 200 is 800. So we subtract these two. We are left with 112. We bring down the 5. The 2 times what is close to 11, it would be 5. 5 times 200 is 1,000. We subtract this, we get 125. So this is 45, remainder 125. If you wanted to put 125 over 200, that would be fine. You would just then have to simplify that and divide both of them by 5 or even 25 to get a simpler fraction. For 9, we have what number should replace the question mark to make the true statement. 17 times what is 561? Well, if we divide the 561 by 17, we can get that answer. We can also say to ourselves, the 1 times 7 is 7. That's not going to give us a 1 in the 1's place value. However, 3 times 7 is 21, and that's going to work. So B would be our answer. For 10, it tells us which of the following division is not possible to find a quotient. For F, we have 0 divided by 21. That's the same thing as as 0. So this one works. For G, we have 0 divided by 18. That works. For H, we have 0 divided by 109. That works. For J, we have 42 divided by 0. This one does not work, so J would not be possible to find a solution for. For our next set of questions, we have 48.16 divided by 8. So if we do this, the 8 does not go into 4, but it goes into 48 6 times. 6 times 8 is 48, so we simplify, we get 0. We bring that decimal point up, we bring the 1 down. 8 does not go into 1, but we can bring the 6 down to say 8 goes into 16. Because it didn't go into that 1, we're going to put a 0 on top of the 1 and then work with the 16. 8 goes into 16 twice, so 6.02 is our answer. For 2, we have 6.4 divided by 25. So we are going to have the 25 on the outside, the 6.4 on the inside. 25 does not go into 6, but it goes into 64 twice. So we're going to put the 2 above the 4, the decimal point we're going to bring up, and the 0 goes in front of this, on top of the 6, 2 times 25 is 50. We subtract these, we get 14. We add a 0, we bring it down. So 25 goes into 140 how many times? 25 goes into 145 times with 125. We subtract these. This is going to become a 10. This becomes 3. So that's 5 and 1. Bring down the 0. So 150. 25 goes into 150 6 times with 150. So this gives us 0.256. For 3, it says Lisa and her 2 brothers bought their mother a tote bag that cost $34.95. If they shared the cost equally, how much did each child pay? Lisa and her 2 brothers make up 3 children in total, so we are going to do 34.95 divided by 3. 3 goes into 3 once with 3. Subtract, bring down the 4. 3 goes into 4 once with 3, subtract, bring down the 9. If you see, I already brought up that decimal point because I am using that decimal point where my number, where that value is to begin with. So 3 goes into 19 6 times, it goes above the 9 with 18. We subtract, we get 1. We bring down that 5. 3 goes into 15 5 times with 15, so we won't have any remainder. This is $11.65 that each child paid. For 4, it says rounded to the nearest tenth, 63 divided by 1.3 is equal to what? So we are going to do the 1.3 on the outside, the 63 on the inside. This 1.3 would turn into 13, making the 63 a 630. So again, I put my decimal point up because I know I'm going to be rounding to the nearest tenth. I'm going to have a decimal point. So 13 goes into 63 how many times? With this, we can look at 4. So 4 times 13 gives us 52. We subtract these, we get 11. Bring down that decimal, or that 0. Then we have 13 goes into 110 how many times? I'm going to try 8. So 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 1 plus 2 is 10. So I subtract these now, and I get 6. I bring down that 0. 13 goes into 64 times. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry the 1. 4 times 1 plus 1 is 5. That gives me 8. I add a 0. I bring it down. 13 goes into 86 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Carry the 1. 6 times 1 plus 1 is 7. So that's 2. If I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, that means that that 4 is going to turn into a 5. So that's 48.5. For 5, we have 27.1 divided by 1,000. So that 1,000 goes on the outside, the 27.1 goes on the inside. If I bring up my decimal point, 1,000 doesn't go into 2. 1,000 doesn't go into 27. 1,000 does not go into 271. I added 0. 1,000 goes into 2,710 twice with 2,000. So these cancel out. I have 710. I added 0. I bring it down. 1,000 goes into 7,100 7 times with 7,000. I subtract. I'm left with 100. I added 0. I bring it down. 1,000 goes into 1,000 once. So our answer is 0.0271. For 6, we are finding the missing number. We have something divided by 3.7 is 2.5. So inverse operations, opposite operations, instead of dividing these, we're going to multiply them. So I'm going to do 2.5 times 3.7. The 7 times 5 gives us 35. The 7 times 2 is 14, plus 3 is 17. Add the 0 down. 3 times 5 is 15, carry the 1. 3 times 6 plus 1 is 7. So I'm going to add these. I get a 5. I get 12, carry the 1. Then that's 9. I have 2 decimal points, or 2 decimal places, so 9.25. For 7, we have to divide 2.628 by 1.2. So I am going to put that 1.2 on the outside and the 2.628 on the inside. I make this a 12, this a 26.28, so I am going to move my decimal point over. 12 goes into 26 twice with 24. I subtract, I get 2. Oops. I bring down the next number, which is a 2. 12 goes into 22 once with 12, so that's 10. Bring down the 8, 108. 12 goes into 108 9 times with 108. So 2.19 is our answer. For 8, it says a package of paper is 1.464 inches thick. If each sheet of paper is 0.003 inch thick, how many sheets are in the package? So we are going to put that 3 on the outside. We're moving it 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. 1464 goes on the inside. So 13 goes into 14 once with 1 left over. Bring down the 6. 13 goes into 16 once. We're going to subtract those. We get 3. Bring down the 4. 13 goes into 34. Or sorry, 3 goes into 30. No. Okay. This is why we show our work. All right. So 3 goes into 14 4 times with 12. The 3 comes out. The 2 comes down. My goodness. 2. Then the 6 comes down. So 3 goes into 26 8 times with 24. 2's left over. I bring down the 4. That's 24. So 3 goes into 24 8 times. So this is 488. For 9, it says how many pieces measuring 0.55 meters can be cut from a roll with 50.6 meters of wire. So we're going to do 50.6 divided by 0.55. When we do this, we are going to make sure that this 55, since it's on the outside, is going to be 55, which means the number on the inside is going to be 5060. So 55 on the outside, 5060 on the inside. 55 does not go into 50, but it goes into 506 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 5 plus 4 is 49. I subtract these. I'm going to have a 1. This becomes a 10, making the 5 a 4. That's a 1. Bring down the 0. That's 10. 55 goes into 110 twice. Or sorry, yes, with 110. So I have 0 left over. It's just 92. 10 says a roll of 12 tiles is 115.2 inches long. How long would a row of 7 tiles be? So what we have to do first is divide the 115.2 by 12 and then multiply that number by the 7. So I'm going to start with the 12 on the outside, the 115.2 on the inside. 12 goes into 115 9 times. 9 times 12 is 108. I subtract these. And I know this because of the last question that I did or not the last question, but the question before when I had to multiply the 12 times the 9. So with this, the 5 turns into a 15, making the 0, or the 1 is 0. 15 minus 8 gives us 7. I bring down that 2. 12 goes into 72 6 times. So then I have my remainder of 0. So that 9.6 is then going to be multiplied by the 7. So 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times 9 is 63, plus 4 is 67. Put that decimal point in. So we have 67.2 meters long. Or sorry, that's not even meters, that's inches. There we go.